So Saturday's games, we had Brighton and Liverpool tie.
It's a draw, first of all.
Okay, draw.
You'll learn eventually. Eventually.
A 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw, yes, indeed. This was highly controversial for anyone who watched. Another one I watched live. Braced home from the farm to watch this. It wasn't a very good game, actually. Both teams, look, I mean, if you're a Brighton fan, obviously you're a lot happier. It was VAR again. Okay, and here we go. So, first of all, Liverpool have a goal ruled out for offside. Okay, if you've seen it, he's offside by one pubic hair. It's pathetic. Okay, we need to change this fucking rule. We need to make it so, right, unless there is daylight, it's not offside. It can only be offside if there is clear daylight. Okay, otherwise, what is the fucking point? It doesn't even look offside. Honestly, it looks like they're in line with each other. It's pathetic. And we saw the complete capitulation of this system with Patrick Bamford sticking his arm out. It's just pathetic. It's pathetic at this point. I actually have been really patient with VAR, whereas everyone else was panning it. After last season, everyone was like, this is shit, get rid of it. And I thought, no, do you know what? It's getting more decisions right. That's fine. Now it's getting farcical. It's not offside. It's not handball. It's not this. It's not that. All these things which, for 100 years, it's had no problem. All of a sudden, this system has decided everything's a fucking penalty. Everything's a foul. Everything's offside. Everything's handball. Fuck off. It's getting tedious now, okay? Salah's goal should have stood. It didn't. That's fine. Whatever. You want to say it's offside? Fine. I don't care. I don't support the team. I like Liverpool. I obviously love Mohamed Salah because he's Egyptian like myself, but I don't give a shit, okay? But I like good football. And as a neutral, I'm sitting here thinking, for fuck's sake, you've ruled out a decent goal, okay? Brighton get a penalty. No problems. Clearly a penalty. No problem. Missed it. Terrible fucking penalty by Mupai.
Yeah.
Fucking awful. Just put it wide. I just thought, fuck you. That's Brighton's problem in a nutshell, is that penalty, actually. They can play good football. They can get themselves in a position to score, but they can't fucking put the ball back in the net and save their lives. Got a very similar problem to Crystal Palace in a lot of ways. They'll be fine. They won't go down, but you better start investing in players who can fucking get that ball in the back of the net. Because there's the difference between you and the other smaller teams like Southampton, for instance, who have invested in people who can fucking get them goals, even if they lose games. Same with Aston Villa. It was for a while. Same with Leeds as well. You know that they can get goals if they need them. Patrick Bamford is a proven commodity as well. So, yeah, it comes down to the end, obviously. Now, to be fair, Liverpool didn't play that well. They didn't create that many opportunities for such a big side. And I'm not going to make excuses for them. Yeah, they've got injuries. They're clearly not as good as they were last season. That's fine. It's very difficult to replicate what you did last season. It reminds me of when Arsenal went completely invincible for a season, completely undefeated. You're never going to replicate that again. You're never going to get to that level again. You live in the moment with those kind of things. Is it a penalty? By the letter of the law, yes. Danny Welbeck goes in to get the ball, and he essentially gets his foot kicked. The Liverpool defender is clearly not trying to foul Danny Welbeck. He's going to kick the ball to clear it. The ball moves out of the way. These things happen all the time on the pitch, and nobody bats an eyelid because it's in the area. Fair enough. Danny Welbeck's going to play for it, and he gets himself a penalty. Me, personally, I don't think it's a penalty, but it is by the letter of the law. I'm not sitting here telling you that it's not. It's just not for me, because for me, it's an innocuous 50-50 ball. The defender has a right to try and kick it, and the fact that Welbeck has accidentally called it, again. People are laughing about it because for some reason, all of a sudden, we don't like Liverpool because they're successful again. I don't get this. It's like the Patriots mentality. Doesn't matter what they do, if they play fair or not, people are going to shit on them because they're the champions. And they think, And last season, the running joke was Liverpool, Liverpool gets every decision via VAR this season. They get fucking creamed. VAR is fucking ruining them. And all these people saying that things like, oh, well, that's karma and whatever. And karma doesn't exist, mate. It's a load of bollocks, that theory. So I'm not buying it personally. For me, whatever. For me, the biggest problem here was actually that Liverpool didn't create enough opportunity. And if they had, they probably would have won this game. So if you're Liverpool, you can.
You're hurting. You're hurting bad right now if you're Liverpool because you just lost James Milner.
Yeah, that's a bad loss. Okay, for me. Sorry, my camera.
So no Van Dijk, No Milner. You're
What's the
State
youngster
of
fucking
your
Shankly's having to go on my camera here, man? What the fuck's going on here?
state of your fucking camera.
Fucking
I love
useless,
it.
honestly. Gotta get me
But then, of course, your Fabinho comes back, but you still Reece Williams is hurt. There's so many defenders hurt right now. If you're
yeah,
Liverpool,
but you're also
go,
Liverpool.
if you're Liverpool, do you go in the January transfer window and find a defender?
I mean, you're probably going to have to go out and buy some backup, but at the same time, if you spend catch 22 in it, you can't spend too much money because if you do, what happens next season when they're all fit again? Oh shit! Like all of a sudden, you got to turf these guys out. So do you try and this is where your youth system should be coming into play. This is where your reserves should be coming into play. If you've got depth, you shouldn't have a problem. Now, admittedly, they did bring in their depth players, their backup players, and they got injured too. And again, champions elect. You get everyone's best shot when you're the champion. People play much harder against you. That's just the way it is. Yeah. I'm not pushing the panic button. Okay, they lost to Atalanta. That's fine. Atalanta aren't shit. They can beat most teams in the Premier League, I reckon. You draw with Brighton, but ultimately you definitely were the better team. But, it's a cheap penalty at best. So, I'm not going to panic. I'm not going to panic at all. Ultimately, I think the draw took them top at the time until obviously the, Chelsea Spurs game. They're still in and around there, and they're doing that with all these injuries as well. So, it's not like Everton, they just continue to slide and slide and slide. Calm down, okay? If you're a Liverpool fan, calm down. If you're not a Liverpool fan, shut up. Okay, like all these anti-Liverpool. Oh, I hate Liverpool. Why? Why would you hate a team that plays good football and plays really nice football and plays the game well and has the best manager in the game? Why would you hate that? I don't.
And he's so fiery. He is fired back at so many pundits on fucking Sky Sports.
Good. Why should just because he's paid a shit ton of money and because he's manager of the reigning champions does not mean that people are entitled to just tee off on him and abuse him. So good for him for fucking being like, fuck you, I'm not taking your shit.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Roy Keane, yeah, he's a great analyst. I really enjoy Roy Keane on Sky Sports, but he needs to shut his yapper, mate. You deliberately tried to end the guy's career, and you did in the end, Alf-Inge Haaland. I haven't forgotten that, and I'll never fucking forgive that. He was a dirty fucking bastard, Roy Keane. He was an absolute cunt. And when somebody finally squared up to him, like Alan Shearer, he shit his pants and he ran away. Because Alan Shearer was like, I'll fucking do you, mate. I've got a giant forehead. I'll nut you, cunt. And he didn't want none of it. Roy Keane was a classic bully. He was hard, don't get me wrong, but he was also a bully. He thought he was Vinnie Jones. They all fancied themselves as Vinnie Jones. Vinnie Jones started a lot of this nonsense. With the whole sort of like, I'm a goose, I'm I'll fucking grab your nuts and nut you. It's like, shut up, you fucking Neanderthal. Play the fucking game of football. You ain't hard. You ain't hard at all. Jesus Christ. Go back and watch proper football, mate, with Chopper Harris and Billy Bremner and tell me how fucking hard you are then. The normal white side. Those were tough lads. Fucking hell, mate. If you want an education, search for Wilf Copping, who used to play at right back for Arsenal back in the 20s. He rather famously played against Mussolini's Italian national football team. And fuck man, that was when England used to play there against the Ivory. Fucking hell. Like that's when the real men come on. Fucking hell. You got a broken leg and he carried on playing back then. Bert Troutman, mate, broke his fucking neck in an FA Cup final and carried on playing for the rest of the game.
Damn.
Yeah, these cunts, like, he said something nasty about me on social media. Fucking pathetic. Grow up, you fucking prima donna.